You all are the reason that cinema is dying. People are not going to movie theaters anymore. And all of you guys are the reason why. You would rather stay at home and binge watch than take your families out to a movie theater and have a night out in the cinema.
I'll give it an A. Okay, numbers. I'll give it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I'll
higher
give it-
than you
That's your
rated
first-
Gentleman.
That's your first 10.
That's my first 10, huh?
Yeah.
Fourth time's the charm, AJ.
All right, welcome back to another episode of What We Watching, episode number 4. How you guys feeling today?
I'm all right.
Excited to get this movie off?
For sure.
Talk about this one?
For sure.
Most
But what were
definitely.
you about to say? You saying something?
I said a little tired, but
Yeah, it's been a hectic few past couple days.
yeah. But you know what I do when things get hectic.
Yeah. What's that?
movies.
Watch movies.
There you go.
And this
That's the
one
best
was a
thing to
good
do.
one.
This is
Last
a good
one, last one had Amari a little bit stressed out.
Just a little bit, but we made it through. We made it through.
We're not gonna get back
Let
into
me
that.
tell you, baby. Look, I love the way that we do the selecting with these films. This truly cleansed my palate.
Yeah.
After that Mortal Kombat fiasco, and I, you know what I mean.
Before we get into the movies, we posted a few polls. One of them was the movies versus series. We already gave our take on that. Everyone sided with the series side. For me, it like I said here, and I said in our comments and stuff, it kind of goes back and forth with me lately. It's been series, but
You all are the reason that cinema is dying. People are not going to movie theaters anymore. And all of you guys are the reason why. You would rather stay at home and binge watch than take your families out to a movie theater and have a night out in the cinema.
with a Gabe special.
With a Gabe special. It's a
Gabe
completely different experience that you guys are missing out on. Some of you might be rich enough to have the same sound system in your home that they have
As
in the movie
AMC
theater.
theaters,
But
for sure.
the
Dolby
sound
Digital,
system,
whatever.
yeah, the sound system alone is enough to make the experience different in the theater.
Yeah.
Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you.
Then we got Amari rant last time. Now Gabe's getting stuff off his
That's
chest.
right. Get back in those theaters.
But yeah, I think just like the times people are moving towards series, and that's why it kind of reflected that. But yeah, we had another poll posed by Gabe himself, and then we turned it into a poll. What was the better trilogy, The Godfather or the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy? And again, Gabe was on the on the wrong side of the popular vote, but
also,
we have our reasons.
Yeah, and I also think that like we're in a day and age of superhero movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the Batman series is more recent
Mm-hmm.
and it's a superhero movie. So I do feel like that, like if you ask the previous generation in the era that Godfather came out, I guarantee you we probably would have gotten some different results.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because that movie was like the talk of the town, I guess, during that era. But for me, it's still Godfather.
Yeah. So what about you? What'd you say?
Yeah, I said the Dark Knight trilogy.
favorite movie.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
So I was definitely on that. The Godfather though.
what's your? I know Gabe's reason. What's your reasoning?
My reasoning for it being over the Godfather, I just feel like it's a little bit more. The Dark Knight trilogy just has a couple more things that I appreciate in terms of just the adaptation. One, the adaptation of the source material, but then two, again, like I'm like the performance person, so Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, Morgan Freeman,
Tom Hardy.
Yes, throughout the entire trilogy, you have, you have Raj Al Ghul played by Liam Neeson.
Great villains.
You got, you've got, Academy Award winners, Catwoman.
You come to me on the day that my daughter's.
Do you want to know how I got these scars? Both iconic. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong. I mean, you cannot go wrong with either trilogy. Like they're both legendary. But for me personally, I can go back and watch either one. But yeah, I mean the personal
they
preference.
both heavily influenced culture.
Yeah.
That was a topic brought up in some of our like our movie club chat.
Yep.
But yeah, go ahead, get your
Well,
take off.
it was close.
Yeah.
So I
He did a whole point system.
Yeah, I had
He
to
did
do
a
a
point
point system in the
system.
chat. I had to rank
You're gonna
them
have to put
1
an
through 6.
infographic.
Yeah, I had to rank them 1 through 6, and then give first place 6 points, and then sixth place 1 point, and I end up putting Godfather 1 first, then Dark Knight, then Dark Knight Rises, then Godfather 2 and 3, and then
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
Yeah,
So based off of
that's
that
about
point
right.
system, Godfather would win
Right.
by a point.
Yeah.
So it was close. I'm not obviously this is no knock to Batman because I've discussed how that was like one of the only superhero things that I enjoyed.
Talked about it last pod
Yeah.
too. Three straight pods now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so it's no knock to Batman, but for me, Godfather just like transcended cinema,
Yeah.
especially cinematography.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So I'm on like a similar page as you. I still put the Batman trilogy over it, but just probably like by a hair, by 1 point if we did point systems, or if I did a point system like you. But one thing that was big for me is that like I think Godfather 1 is the best movie. If you take all 6 just like you did and you ranked them, I think Godfather 1 is the best movie.
Yeah.
I just think that 2 was okay or was good, and 3 was like I didn't really need it, or it just felt like it was like dragged on and stuff. And for me, like if you were to graph it in both trilogies, like Godfather 1, 2, and then 3, so it kind of falls. Like it kind of, I don't know if it's crescendo. I think it's crescendo was when it falls down.
Yeah.
when the sound falls down. But
I guess, but it descends for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And Batman Begins was, I think, not the worst of it. It was good. It wasn't like amazing, but it was good. And and I guess Dark Knight was the better of the two, but I think like the Dark Knight Rises was almost just as good. And
Absolutely.
the villains were really, really strong, and the stories were really good, or like the plot and so on. So I think that it just because I think those two, like Batman, like Godfather 1 and The Dark Knight are close, but I give an edge to The Godfather. And then I think the third one with Bane was better than The Godfather 2 and 3. So I mean, but I'm not saying like it was a wash, but that's just why I kind of lean towards that way.
Well, I mean, but he basically just ranked them exactly how I ranked them.
Yeah.
But he just didn't give it a point system. Like
Well,
I did.
no, I would say I think you had Godfather 3 over Batman Begins.
Oh,
I
so
would
you
flip.
put Batman.
I would flip those.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, and as a trilogy, as a full story,
Yeah.
I agree. Like The Dark Knight, while The Godfather starts at the peak and kind of like you're coming down the mountain, definitely with Batman Begins, you're climbing up, and then you get to the absolute peak with The Dark Knight, and then you kind of come down just a little bit, but you're still kind of very, very high with the third film. So
see, I don't. To be honest with you, I didn't see Dark Knight Rises as I didn't see Dark Knight Rises as like coming down that much. I just think because Christopher Nolan's performance was so
You mean Heath Ledger?
ridiculously good.
Heath Ledger.
Oh yeah,
Heath
Ledger.
yeah.
Heath Ledger's performance was so ridiculously good that there's nothing anyone could do to top that.
Yeah.
But I do think Dark Knight Rises was really,
yeah,
really
it was
good.
damn
Like,
good.
I do think it
Just
was
as
really,
Tom
really
Hardy
good.
was just
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm not beating Heath Ledger's performance, but
But
hey,
he
I'm gonna
killed
give
it.
you a really good
Yeah.
band. Like, I'm
Tom
gonna give you
Hardy.
a really everyone
I'm a
still
fan.
talks
Yeah,
about
same.
that voice that he makes with the mask. Like,
Yeah.
that is it's definitely
Everyone's
iconic. It's
putting
an
on masks
iconic
during
role.
COVID, be like,
You believe what I believe.
So my question is, all right, I know what villain performance you're gonna rank higher.
yeah.
Story structure. Do you think Dark Knight's story structure was better than Dark Knight Rises as well, or was it just Heath Ledger's performance that was so ridiculous that put it above?
The Dark Knight Rises, it's like, I think Bane's ideas were there. There's definitely there was a lot less, how we talked about with the last pod with grounding films, and we were directly speaking on the Batman trilogy about how there's a groundedness to it and it makes you feel like it's real, like this could really happen. There are elements of that third film that are a little bit more, you have to kind of suspend your belief, you know what I mean? Yes, like, that scene was wild. I mean, even going down to the gadgets. I mean, now we got, flying car situations. We got like these, the Batwing situation. So there are definitely aspects of it where it's like, okay, this is a little bit more, you're getting more comic booky now. In terms of the actual story and how the plot how you move through the plot in the third film, it's like, okay, like, movies with big bombs always kind of like, it's like, okay, I mean, there's not much you can do with that.
There's a big bomb in Dark Knight. He blew up that hospital.
Yeah, that was a part of it.
To blow up a boat.
But I think again, like how we've talked about like motivations and like how characters carry out their missions, I think the Joker's was just a little bit more like you believed his commitment to the anarchy. You believe, why he wants to take down society. You understand where he's coming from. Bane, you kind of get it, but he does kind of arrive like, hey, like I'm just gonna start blowing shit up.
He
like,
came out the darkness.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I'm just, don't ask how I did this with this stadium. Like it's just happening like right now. Boom, and Hines Ward's gonna run his tail off, boy.
I think Hines Ward still should have got credit for that touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I believe. Yeah, that definitely. I wonder what the stat line was on that game, but.
I think Bane is my favorite villain in that one because I think Heath Ledger. I think like Tom Hardy did a great job. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everyone. I think the consensus would be that Heath Ledger did like a little bit better of a job, even though I don't think Tom Hardy could have done a better job than he did. It's just that it was just an iconic performance by Ledger. But I think I like the third one more, even though I can say that I think the second one was a little bit better. I think I like it more because there was a moment where I'm like, yo, Batman could lose. Like, I didn't even think he was going to lose to Joker. Like, I was like, fair. Joker was creating chaos and doing things that he couldn't, like, stop or control. But, like, one-on-one, I'm like, he could lose. Like, he might not be able to beat this dude.
But I think the Joker, his thing wasn't necessarily to beat Batman one-on-one.
It's just to create chaos.
And defeat his character. He wanted his character to be assassinated. He wanted the idea of Batman to be killed. That's what he wanted. He didn't necessarily care to beat him in a one-on-one fight. Yeah. I mean, he's getting thrown to his death and he's laughing about it.
Right.
So I think that's what made him a unique villain because a lot of times, like, people go into these situations, they want to beat this person one-on-one head up. And it's like, all right, well, no, you can't do that. He comes into it like, I know you beat me in a fight. Okay.
That's not
but
what
if
I'm
you beat me
here for.
into a fight, you don't kill people. So if you kill me, that tarnishes your rep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Batman does lose at the end of The Dark Knight. I mean, Rachel dies.
Yeah.
And then we get the birth of Two-Face. You know what I mean?
Rachel
so it's
dying.
like you do.
Huh? I said I like Rachel dying.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Wait, I love this. Did you guys ever see that clip of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless talking about The Dark Knight? And then basically being like, why are Two-Face and Batman fighting over Rachel? Is it right? I mean, really? Really? We supposed to believe that? We supposed to believe they fighting over this chick, not a Holly Berry? Or I was like, yo, Stephen A's crazy, bro.
Yeah. I liked her dying for the same reason why the person who I hate the most, and I do mean hate, out of all of superhero movies, is Lois Lane.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was just about to say that. Very
Superman
much Amy
is like,
Adams.
press this button and you save the world. He's halfway to pressing the button. Wait, Lois Lane didn't tie her shoestrings and she trips and falls. Let me go save her. And I'm like, yo, will they just kill her?
Yeah.
Will somebody just off her?
Yeah.
And the world will be a better place.
A way better place.
Yeah.
No, but
Very-
whatever. But that might be the thing. Like, she might be the person keeping him sane, almost. You know, like you can look at it. Like, if he dies, like, all right, why am I still here? Superman's
That's
gone.
fair.
And Superman, like, why am I still good? You know, there could be that.
Yeah.
Then you'd like Superman even more because he'd be super villain man.
Yeah,
But see, now I'm
But-
gonna start going in on DC and Warner Brothers again because that's not Lois Lane.
That's not-
Like,
But,
and like I don't know who the heck Rachel is, so I don't even know. But yeah, shout out to the Dark Knight trilogy. Like that is it's an all timer. And again, like the cast is crazy. Liam Neeson, Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, like the list goes on and on. Gary Oldman, like like these are Academy Award winning performers. Like
Yeah.
you rarely are able to get that type of level of talent over a series of films, so that definitely puts it up there as like an iconic situation. But the Godfather's the Godfather. It's
But
one
I
of the
still-
greatest
I
films
mean,
of all time. So
To your point, I think Bane still did what he was trying to do.
yeah,
It just also kind of backfired.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm gonna break you, and he broke him,
Literally,
like mentally
yeah.
or whatever, and then he just came back from that. So
I think
they
that's the
both-
part that made me like I said, Heath Ledger's performance was just so ridiculous that it puts it above Dark
Yeah.
Knight Rises. But if you somehow didn't look at it from that and you looked at it from a story structure standpoint,
Yeah.
the Batman rebuilding himself made me like Dark
Yeah.
Knight Rises
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
I believe-
much.
yeah. I'm
like
with you on that.
you know what I'm saying? It's not like the clean cut like life is just easy and I'm gonna win at all the time, nothing bad ever happens to me. Is like, all right, he loses. He's this rich guy who loses, who ends up having to go into this dark hole and suffer his way
climb
back.
his way out.
Yeah,
Yeah. climb his way out
Literally
the-
climb his way out
from the started from the bottom.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
still vote Godfather.
But let's give some love to the Godfather too, because
Yeah.
we all three. I don't know. What's your ranking in the order of the movies, Omari? Because me and Gabe have the Godfather as number one.
Yeah, The Godfather. I mean,
So you're putting the Godfather over your favorite movie?
What in terms of like, if I'm ranking them, I mean, if I'm going favorites, yeah. I mean, no, but if we're going like one of the greatest, The Godfather is one of the greatest films that has ever been made. So it's
Yeah.
like, although I'd say The Dark Knight is as well, but the Godfather's like the blueprint. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much inspiration that's drawn from that has gone over to every single genre in film and entertainment. So iconic all these decades later.
Great actors in it too.
Great actors, Pacino, everybody in there bringing it. Like, you can't get any better than the Godfather in terms of the legacy and all that.
It was the best, longest movie I've ever seen. Probably.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
The movie feels forever, but you don't want it to end. You're just like you're just locked in. I remember I saw bits and pieces before, and we watched it recently in our movie club over the pandemic, and I had been not putting it off, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this long movie. I know I've seen parts of it. I know it's like iconic, so on, but like it can't be that good as everyone hypes it up to be. And after watching it, I was like, this movie is exactly like I understand exactly why it gets
it's like
the
you
hype.
get it.
Like it was made 30 years, however long ago, and it can hold up against anything made today.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like I was like, you know what? Let's eat Italian food now. Like I need
literally.
to make pasta. We're gonna watch 2 and 3 now today.
Yes, bro. Like, call me
I need to-
Gumbini Gumbazzo, whatever you want to call me. That's me, man. I'm a part
Just
of the
like-
family. Like, what's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Marlon Brando. Like, I mean, you turn that thing on and you're watching history, literally. Like, yeah, it's an all timer. You can't go wrong with either one.
The opening scene, the wedding, you quoted it. Just come to me.
Come to me on the day that my wife is to be married.
My wife is to be married.
Yeah.
You ask me for a favor.
I
Love
still.
the Godfather, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything with suits and killings, sign me up.
Suits and killing? Yeah.
Mafias, all that. I like that, which is a great segue.
What?
We're on film today.
Go ahead, you're on a roll.
The
man. Just go
Mafia,
take it
baby.
away.
Oh my goodness, I care a lot. Now let's talk about a film that truly deserves a sequel or a prequel, which I will talk about later. Boy, this movie is crazy as hell. I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer.
So wait. Actually, I want to get everyone's initial thoughts on it before, like, what you guys thought before you watched it, and then we can go into everything.
Well, I didn't know anything
You didn't know
about
anything
it
about it? Okay.
originally.
Yeah.
So, and I asked you before. I was like, "Did you put me onto this, or I just happened
Yeah.
upon it?"
I think
so
I
didn't-
think I think I'd watched it and said everyone needs to watch this in our group chat.
So yeah, so I didn't know anything about it, and I tend to like to watch movies that way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, you know,
Same.
yeah, like I don't want to see the trailer. I don't want to read anything about it. I don't want to like. I just go into the movie and just be like, all right, bang, this is what I'm watching. Like, of course, obviously, there are certain movies you see the trailer and that entices you, but certain movies like that come on streaming platforms and stuff. Like sometimes I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to go
Yeah, just
into
watch
it.
it.
Don't hear any feedback from other people.
Yeah.
Just kind of watch it for the first time. So for me, I didn't hear anything about it beforehand. Now in the first few scenes, I could already tell that I was gonna like it.
Yeah, I like
Me
I
too.
like knowing that someone's like, "Hey, this is a good movie, watch it," and I'm like, "All right," and I don't need to know anything else about it. I'll go
Yeah.
check it out, and then, yeah. But this one, I saw when it first dropped, and I was like, "Oh, okay, kind of looks interesting," and I think, like I said this before, Netflix does a good job of showing you clips. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, I like how this is shot," or whatever, this dynamic or whatever is going on, but you really don't even understand what's actually
Right,
going
yeah,
on in it. You
yeah.
just like get a good taste. And I think it was on either some IG accounts I follow or something like that. They were like, people were saying it was a good movie and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And when I went to look at it, it said thriller. It was a thriller/comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, like this doesn't kind of feel like a comedy to me, like just looking at it or whatever, and reading the little like bio or whatever they give
Yeah.
you. And I'm like, I don't know if like I'm not really ready to watch this kind of a comedy or like a comedy in general. So I kind of kept pushing it off, and when I finally watched it, I was like, I can understand why. And there's some parts where okay, they would consider this to be a comedy. They kind of throw like comedy on almost everything that they don't really know where to put it. Like, all right, comedy if there's like some kind of
Right.
comedy in it.
Right.
And but it's not. It's just a really good movie.
Yeah, it's
and yeah. So, but yeah, go ahead, Amar. You were in before I interrupted.
Like you said, I already knew I was gonna like it when I first put it on. It almost reminded me of when I first cut on Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Specifically with the electronic soundtrack, which I really enjoyed throughout this film. Like, it really like moved you through this shit. Like, with certain scenes, I was like, oh man, like, okay, here we go. Like, what's up? So, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. And again, you know, I always got to bring up the cast. Like, at first I wasn't going to watch the trailer. Then I did watch the trailer. But before that, I was spoiled with the Peter Dinklage casting. I had no clue he was in this film until I saw the card. You know, Netflix kind of has cards of like a random part of the film.
Yeah.
Like on like the menu, and I was like, damn, Peter Dinklage is in this. And the scene that he's revealed, I was like, damn, that would have been wild if I just cut this on and Peter Dinklage was in here. I mean, you know, when you cast somebody like that, he don't get onto just any project. And so that was really great. I love Rosamund Pike. Like, this is the chick from Gone Girl. And she just plays these roles just so well. Like, these crazy chicks, that's Rosamund Pike. If you need her to play like a psycho, like, cast Rosamund Pike. Like, she really like kills this role. Like,
she does.
Pun intended. Like
she's the perfect casting.
She kills it.
Like, I don't think anyone could have done a better job.
Like, she was so perfect. Like, I actually can't think of another actress that could really pull off there were so many levels to her, and levels and layers to how she was maneuvering through society. And again, speaking of characters like the Joker that makes you believe their motivations and what they want to do in life, she really did a great job of like helping the character explain to the audience basically like, this is what's happening and this is why I'm doing it, like, and this is why I won't stop and you can't make me stop, you know. So,
and I'm gonna win at all costs.
Yeah, I'm gonna win at all costs. She tells you at the beginning of the film, like, yo, like, I'm a win. I'm a lioness. Like, I'm dope.
That
like,
line, immediately when she said that line, I knew I was gonna like the movie.
Yeah, like, she's not playing no games in this movie. And I mean, we'll obviously get into it further. There's points where I am just like, all right, relax. Like, you feeling yourself a little too much.
Yeah.
But, you know, she doesn't care. The character does not care. And it's a really it was refreshing, honestly, to get this type of
So to
film.
kind of intro it, it's a movie just based on villains, basically. Like there's no
Yeah.
good people
You
in
don't-
this
yeah, nah,
in this
at
movie.
all.
Like even probably I guess maybe the judge was the only one that that didn't know what the hell was
It was
going
poor
on.
judge,
Yeah,
yeah.
but-
That was just off of ignorance.
Even still,
like,
maybe it's like. Ugh,
But that's part of the intro sequence when she says, "Oh, look at you. You
Yeah.
probably think you're a good person."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's. It just makes you not even open your eyes, but it kind of like you. If you compare it to real life, you're like, all right, like what's really going on in
Right.
the world, like
Right.
in the world that we live in, like, because I can empathize with everybody here, and no one's a good person, and no one's doing like the right thing. Even like the so basically, so to intro it, no one's a good person. There's this lady who I don't know if she's a lawyer or whatever, just a businesswoman who has a business where they basically find low-hanging fruit or the low-hanging fruit being old people and that need to go to or may not even need to go to a retirement home, but just they have a lot of money. They don't really have anyone that they can send it off to or give it to when they pass. They trick they play the system in a way to get them to be, so she's their legal guardian. That's why it's called I Care a Lot. She
Right.
cares a lot about all the people she's like a legal guardian for. And then basically just sucks them dry of their money, and these old people just live in a retirement, or not retirement home, but like a nursing home until they're gone. Assisted living
Right,
facility until they're just no more, until they pass away.
Yeah.
And she just profits off them and takes all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she makes
So
sure
sad.
they stay in these situations. Like she's
No matter what, yeah.
she has a game going with the actual assisted living facility. So
Yeah.
like they take
And
their
the
phone
and the doctor.
And the doctor,
Yes.
and basically, I mean, she's got an in with the courts. I mean, she goes in there with no problem. Like,
Yeah.
Well, she's learned how to play the system.
She's a
to-
really good
yeah,
salesperson.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's learned how to play the system to make it seem like, okay, well,
She's doing
this
the right
person
thing.
hasn't been here. I'm here because this person hasn't been doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And so she just lines everything up to basically set herself up to continuously take advantage
Yeah.
of older people
And-
time and time
And make
again.
it seem like she's helping.
yeah, make it
Yeah.
seem like she's helping and she's caring. The only gripe I have is her appearance. Like, she does not look like a nurturing, caring human being. She's
Yeah.
very done up. She's got like,
Business
she's
only,
wearing
short
bright
hair.
red in the, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, in her opening scene. Like, she looks evil as hell. Like,
Yeah, but she talks about it in some of those initial sequences where, because she is a woman, people view her a certain kind of way. They
Yeah.
don't view. She plays into that. She plays into people view women as more nurturing, people. So she plays into that. They don't. That's why the judge can't see her as a person who would be taking advantage of older people.
Yeah, all he knows is that she keeps finding these people who really need help and helping them
Yeah,
and taking care of them, and
he's
no one
like,
else is stepping
she's
up.
well respected within the community, and she's all these other things. So I think she plays into that. So I don't think she could have had a buzz cut when she came in there, and I think it still would have had the same effect because she was a woman. And even later on, her and her partner, she's in a same-sex relationship. Her and her partner like play into that even more. Like they talked about, like, no one sees us coming because we're women,
Right.
and a lot of these men think we're gonna back down from them,
Yeah.
because we're women.
yeah,
but that's
with
not what we're gonna
threats
do.
and,
Yeah,
for sure.
but I'm glad you brought him up earlier.
Yeah,
Peter
Peter
Dinklage, because I feel like he needs more flowers. I feel like, especially. First of all, he's a phenomenal actor outright,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yep.
But him being a little person, I think I give him a little more credit because a lot of times they only put them in positions to, be like comedic relief.
Right.
And
Or be like the butt of the joke or whatever.
yeah.
Yep.
And so he's obviously, Game of Thrones. He has a role where he's not necessarily
Him being little is not an essential
Exactly.
aspect of the character. Yeah, no, not at all.
And so
you almost forget that he's a little person in the film because the character's, so
You
to
mean in
speak,
this
so
one,
big.
or
No,
he's talking about in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, I think both.
Yeah, and
both.
so it's
You
the
could-
same
you could
thing.
say,
But
yeah.
I just looked it up. The first movie that I saw him in was Find Me Guilty.
Okay, yeah,
It's a movie
yeah.
with Vin Diesel. They're in court. Coincidentally, another like Italian mafia style movie, and he's Vin Diesel's
Attorney.
Right.
No, actually, he's not. Vin Diesel is his own attorney. He's someone else's attorney that's a part of the mafia.
Yeah.
But it's another role where he's a vital character, and people have to take him seriously.
Yep.
It's not. They're not. Playing on the idea that he's a little person and
right.
like he's like you said, the butt of the jokes. He has a lot of roles where he is a little person, but you're not thinking about that when you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
He makes you forget that. He becomes whoever this character is and you take him serious. And even in this, him being like a figure that you're supposed to be afraid of.
Yeah.
You can take him serious as a figure that you're supposed to be afraid of, even with him being of such a small stature. So
Right.
I think that he doesn't get enough credit for the roles that he chooses to play, like how you said earlier, he doesn't just play anything. The role that he chooses to play and a job that he does while playing those roles.
It's not that it's funny you say that, but I think him being the big scary person was the reason why it was like thriller / comedy, because it was this big person that they built up. You meet him like probably halfway through, or I don't know, like it feels like halfway through the movie. Or maybe like right after the first third.
Yeah, kind of like second act, middle of the second act. Kind of like.
And they are building him up, and then he happens to be a little person, and it doesn't like when you see it, you're like, oh, it kind of takes, because at least for me, because I didn't know he was in it, it kind of takes me back, and then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's why it had to be a comedy, but he's still very serious, and like they had parts where, when the dude was supposed to go get, that's another thing I want to say. The only person that you think is good in the beginning of this ends up being Peter Dinklage's mom, because she's like the person that you think is like getting taken advantage of. Then you find out, oh no, she stole someone's identity, and she's also this like really bad person too. So that's at the end of it, you're like, yeah, everyone in this movie is a villain. Or whatever.
Did she or did he?
Peter,
do it
he
for
did
her
it to
out of her
escape
for her
the mob.
protection.
Right.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of the mob.
Shield her from the mob.
So he changed her identity and put her in a situation where they couldn't find her. I think she was just doing everything because, like, I don't think she even knew that the diamonds were in her house either.
I think she.
You
was
mean
just
in the
down.
safe?
Yeah, in the safe. I think she was in the dark with a
yeah,
lot
I
of
guess
that.
like they don't really like flesh that out, but I feel like it was like a family mob type of thing in Russia, because like the other dude was the other dude wasn't his brother, but like I think related
he
to him
was part of the
somehow.
mob.
I thought it was like a family thing, and
then,
just
like,
like
the
how she
sibling
changes and
died.
how like she also killed her role. Like she played 3 different characters almost. Like she played the innocent old lady, like you wouldn't suspect anything from her, and then she played this person who was being drugged up and was distraught because she was in a situation she couldn't get out of, and then she was like, "I'm gonna kill you." Also,
Yeah,
like
she was
when she tried to kill the main character, I always forget her names with the mics in my face, but
Marlo.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, back to that. When they first introduce him, he gets out the car, and then he's small. And then this dude is in front of him, like shaking, like don't kill me. Like, I don't know. I tried to find your mom. I can't. And then the guy gives him a box, and it's like donuts. And then he takes a second to eat a donut before,
And
like,
then he
he
brings the
then
gun.
pulls out a gun and is like, so I think there's a little bit of comment. Another part I told you where he goes into the bank to look for the diamonds in the safe. Like he's looking like your hat, like hoodie up and stuff, and just walking through trying to be like inconspicuous. And I'm like, you're a little person. Like no matter like how hard you hide, everyone's gonna know it was you that was on this camera or something. So that's where I think I at least found a little bit of the comedy. But still, like you said, he was super serious. You didn't take him as a joke, and he just did a good job in general.
Yeah, and the movie itself was so well written. Like the storyline was
Yeah.
so well written. Everyone did an amazing job, like in their performances of their character.
Yeah.
And this is just another one of those, like we touched on the first episode of The Gentleman, where it's like these diamonds in the rough, where like you're not seeing a lot of marketing for it. You don't see a lot of people talking about it. You don't see it everywhere, but it's definitely something that I'd watch and rewatch and recommend other people to watch. It's like one of those type of films.
So the score and the music, what you talked about, like I made a note to write that. I was like, yo, it doesn't take away from the movie, and it amplifies every situation. And you're like, this song or whatever, the score or whatever the music is exactly what I'm feeling right now, and I can tell that this is important, or not even that's important, just it matches. And another scene I really liked, or like I like the way it was shot too. A lot of close-ups, a lot of like they cut her off at her forehead. You're really like, it's really intense. You're really like in her face or going through the thoughts that she's going through. It almost feels like, but when they first introduced the expensive lawyer that they called him, I forget his name too, but the one
Dean.
Dean with the gray suit and purple tie and handkerchief and everything. When they had their first going back and forth, I was like, oh, this is like lit. Like this is a super strong dude who like knows what he's talking about, knows like the laws and how to like talk himself out of anything. It almost seems, and she's going 1 for 1 with him. She's not missing a beat, not backing down. And like the entire movie, I think the theme was just basically like competition and almost like not like losing at, or not wanting to lose no matter what.
And I think part of what drove her was these being guys that she were battling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think if these were women, I think her response to them would have been different.
Right.
But every time it was a guy, even in situations like, you know,
Yeah, because she with the doctor, when she was like, "Hey, I want in on this," she kind of like, all right, like she kind of backed down to get that client or whatever. Where if it was, she didn't back down from Peter Dinklage dude or the lawyer at all, and they gave no ground.
And then she made a point to mention like these dudes, these guys, like when those incidents would happen, oh, these guys feel like I would back down in these situations.
Right.
And Peter Dinklage keeps asking her like, you're not afraid of me? Like you're not afraid
you're not
that
afraid
I'll
to die.
kill you? Like,
Right.
like I could still kill you right now. And she just keeps repeating like, no. And so she didn't, that's the crazy part is she keeps saying that she cares a lot. The name of it is I care a lot, but she clearly did not care that much. Like
In
if
the
she
face of
lived
danger,
or
she's just
died.
like stone cold.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. I like that, like having a women-led cast basically, and them being going toe for toe, bat for bat, or however you say.
And I like that. Okay, so here this was my my issue with Harriet, right? So what I liked about this is exactly what I didn't like about Harriet. I think that you can make empowerment movies for any topic, and in this case, like a woman empowerment movie, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like so in your face. This is about women empowerment.
Right.
Like in the case of Harriet, like it's about Harriet Tubman. Literally, just that in itself makes it about women empowerment. You don't have to do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do anything else to it but tell the honest story of Harriet Tubman, and it's going to be about women empowerment. But they made a point to do certain things where it's like they go off into monologues to discuss like women empowerment and, you know, that type of thing that kind of pulls you out of the film. And this one, I feel like they didn't do that. I feel like this movie was about her and women empowerment, but they did it in a way where it wasn't so in your face. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't like, hey, this is the purpose for the movie.
Or you could even say like they were so obvious about it that they made like it a part of the storyline. Like they made her hatred towards men, it almost seems like a part of the storyline, or her hating to feel like she's submitting to a guy, a part of the storyline. So it was about women's empowerment, but there was at no point that they stopped and been, you know, and were like, we women are as powerful as we want to be, type of, you know what I'm saying, type of thing.
It was in the writing, not like written, like not spelled out for you, but it was in the writing of the story. And even like in small ways where back to the scene with the lawyer, with Dean and her, where she was like, oh no, her doctor was or this lady, I forgot the old lady's name. The doctor was the one
Jennifer.
who told me, was the one who informed me and stuff. And then he kept referring to that doctor as a he. And she's like, no, it's a she. He's like, all right, the she doctor or whatever. Like they just those little things and the back and forth was how they delivered that seamlessly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the big thing with this film was just like the amplifying of like capitalism and like what it's done to society. I mean, this character Marla is driven by
money, money.
Western society and like what we have created in terms of the world of money. And so she said, she's like, I want to be like the billionaires. I want to be in the 1%. Like, and I'm gonna do anything possible to get like that. And this is my game. Like everyone, and it's wild because you think about today's millionaires, billionaires, those in the 1%, and you really get to thinking like, what are some of the sacrifices? What are some of the things that they did, to get to where they are? And it's like you always have to think like somebody in every situation, somebody not playing by the rules, and somebody got the very short end of the stick, to get those billionaires, those millionaires to where they're at. And this is just an incredible. I mean, from the beginning, I wasn't expecting, her plan that she has at the beginning of the film to turn into this almost multi-billion-dollar corporation when she combines it with Peter Dinklage's character.
Yeah.
That spin, I was just like, damn, like it really gets you to thinking about what, the lengths that people go to advance in this incredibly flawed society that we have created.
And what these big corporations who care and are doing like that are for causes and stuff, like what's really going on.
Yeah, absolutely. This character, she's stone cold. Like if they, like I said, this movie now, Mortal Kombat, which we talked about in the last pod, that don't need a sequel. This movie needs I want a prequel for this movie, and I want it to be about Marla. I need a Marla origin story, and I don't know what we can call it. If this movie's called I Care a Lot, we gonna call the prequel I Don't Give a Shit, because this character, she just does not care. I mean, literally Peter Dinklage threatens to kill her mother and she was like, kill that bitch, I don't care.
Shows her a video, he's like,
that's
I don't
care about that bitch. I was like, wow, like she really
like what happened
really
also,
and she's just so bold. Like she was like, let's take him down. And I'm like, no, like Fran, like her girlfriend was just like, like what is wrong with you? Like, let's get out of here. Like she and Dean told her. Dean was like, something's coming. Something's coming. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow. And we find out at the end of the film, it came. You know what I mean? And so there are a lot of messages in this film in terms of just like, is there a pause on that one?
This game, like,
it just
continue,
came, just
keep
came,
going.
came on her face. And so there is so many things. Very high. I mean, we're gonna talk about it. Very hot. I truly buy the couple. By the way, it's a pretty hot couple. And too. I don't know if y'all.
But I had Frankie as Letty from Fast and Furious. Like, that was exactly her character.
That
it was
vibe,
Letty.
Exactly. Cool dynamic duo. Her partner in crime totally believed it. They were very on point with their research when it came to the wards. Like, I mean, Frankie's out here following folks, and she's going and getting information and just trying to collect. I mean, she's very thorough and very, very, precise with her scam. And so, that drive, although it's, a very, it's awful. I mean, it's a very terrible, business.
Right.
As someone, I have a grandmother, thank the Lord, 89 years old. I would hate to have a family member in this situation. I mean, it's a horrible situation.
You can't like anyone in the movie.
I mean, awful. Absolutely awful. Thank God. I mean, shout out to everyone who's able to take care of their parents and the whole nine, because there are sharks out there, like she says in the film, like, you're just a nasty shark that's trying to take advantage of folks, and I don't appreciate that. And you pulling up to my business like this, and I'm like, wow, like she really is like trying to dress folks down, and meanwhile she's the one, committing crime and being immoral and just completely out of bounds, taking advantage of people who would really don't have it, or need it at certain instances. But The performance, though, again, Rosamund Pike, she makes you believe in her for a lot of the film. Like, you're just like, you're not rooting for her, but you're just like, damn, girl,
You
go
understand.
ahead. Like,
Yeah, like-
you know what I mean? Like, you're a bad chick.
She's
You don't
like-
need no man. Literally, like,
Right.
you're just like,
And
you're
she's
moving
not
through
going up.
society. Like,
Yeah, she's
you're
not
doing
going
your
up
thing.
against a good system either. Like,
Exactly.
she's going against
Exactly.
somebody else who's just as bad.
Yeah,
maybe worse.
The society has created these types of people.
Yeah.
It's created that mindset, you know what I'm saying? Through capitalism, like, just like, yo, like, everybody cheating, so I'm gonna cheat. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do it until the wheels fall off. And she literally did. And Dean told her again, like, don't do this. Like, I'm telling you, take the money. And she's just like, why would I take this? You know what I mean? 300, 100K. I could have millions. That's what I want. I want to be a multi-millionaire, billionaire. That's what I dream of in America. I want to have all the money, all the power. So I'm Xing that out, and I'm trying to get to the money. So I don't care about you threatening my life, and you know, coming out of nowhere, and clearly you are coming, you know, with a purpose. And she was just so stubborn.
Yeah,
and
we do
not trying to
definitely
hear
need
it.
that origin story, because
We need it.
You don't get
I wanna know
like
where
that on
comes from.
accident.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
want to
really get-
know. Yeah, I want to know where that comes from. And her even saying like, "Oh, my mom, that sociopath." Like, I want to know like how a person like that gets to that point where they're literally down to do anything to get to that almighty dollar.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely would have had to been screwed over a few times, because it's kind of like she has the attitude of, well, yeah, I'm taking advantage of the system, but as opposed to what, somebody else doing it, like
Yeah, someone else doing
else
it.
is going to do it on this end. So I may,
I might as well be the guy.
I might as well be the person who's doing it and be the person who becomes rich like everyone else in the 1%.
Yeah.
But to your point, and it's definitely leading to a spoiler. But to your point, I mean, if you want Marlowe's character, it has to be a prequel.
Right.
Because
does she? You think she's gone?
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where she got stabbed? There's just no way she's coming back from that.
I think she's.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think
she's dead.
Yeah,
She's
I think
dead.
she's a goner.
That's how you wrap that thing up. Like,
Yeah.
that's
And
she
I
had
was
to
like,
die.
that was like the like,
'Cause
because
it's when you
I'm
go
like,
too
yo,
far.
all these evil people are just winning. Like, the evil people are just they won. They taking advantage. Like, she's blown it up into this huge corporation. She's taking advantage of the elderly across the United
nation,
States of America. Like, how does this end? Like, with her on top, you know, and then this guy who she screwed over
In the very first one, the very first frame.
beginning of the scene.
Very beginning.
And you know, we talk
Awful.
about this all the time about how movies have symmetry, and it kind of gives you that aha moment. This guy, and he pops up out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, my mother died in this assisted living facility by herself. I couldn't be there because of you." Bang. Let's get her on up out of here.
Let's get it.
She's done.
You're done.
She's done.
But another, it kind of, not that it's not part of the story, but in movies and in this movie in general, nothing good ever happens in a parking garage. As soon as a character walks into a parking garage by
Yeah, you
themselves,
already know what's
something's gonna
going down.
happen.
Absolutely.
Like, both times, like she got taken, she was in a parking garage, and then when she got Peter Dinklage, she got him back, it was in a parking garage.
Yeah.
So as soon as someone enters a parking garage in a movie, just know like something's about to happen.
So, are you saying we should avoid parking garages in our real life?
No parking garages.
If you live in a movie, then yeah. But
If you live in a movie.
but just in general, if you're in a parking garage, you might as well just be extra alert, because you never know.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I love. Again, the motivations are so clear with the protagonists. Well, you can't say protagonist, but the main character. Her motivations are, you know, she was just like, because Frankie was like, I mean, he threatened you, and she was just like, I've been threatened by many men.
Yeah.
And you know, they said that they were going to do X, Y, and Z, and none of that happened.
No. She said, and I've been threatened by, like, she says an exact number, like by hundreds, and only 2 ever came out.
Right,
Anything.
only 2. Right.
Yeah,
right,
and
right,
so it was
right.
like, so
Yeah.
that's even
And it's
more.
like
You're
she-
like, we need this
Yeah,
origin story.
more. Yeah, she keeps dropping. They keep dropping nuggets
Nuggets
throughout
on,
the
like-
film. Like, it's like
Only
who
2 ever
is
came
this
of
chick?
anything, and I'm like,
You know what I mean? Which is also interesting too, where it's like, okay, well maybe, because usually when you get a film like this, you obviously go, okay, we need a prequel, but that mystery too might also be like a really cool part of this film,
Of
where
building
it's
her
like,
up, yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like this? Like, I love that. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if a prequel, never came, because it's like throughout the movie, you're constantly being pulled along and these small nuggets that are being dropped continue to pique your interest in the character, and it's not that you believe her, but you're more susceptible to following her because you're interested.
Yeah,
and
you're
you know you're
even understanding instead of
yeah,
like being
interested,
completely
and you
taken
understand
out of it.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly, and you understand where she's
because
coming
you can
from.
never imagine yourself being this person or being that bad of a person.
Right.
Then you're like, okay, something happened to her that made her this way.
Yeah.
There's reasons why. Like they did a good job of that.
Yeah, those nuggets definitely. I mean, look, what you just said, you could never imagine yourself being that bad of a person, and she starts off by saying, "You think you're a good person,
Yeah.
don't you?"
Right. It's like, oh well, what about you? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just like you really get an inside look. Again, another film, just like with The Gentleman, an incredibly elaborate plan. Like this is a scam right here. Like this is the scam of all scams, because it's really just like, and then when it gets amplified at the end with Peter,
it's one you don't hear about, or like maybe it's there's someone in the world doing this, but it's almost like it's completely imagined. Like,
right.
And the way that it's delivered is like, all right, this could be a real thing. Like even me right now, I'm like, I've never heard of this, but I don't doubt for a second that
I was
somewhere's doing this.
I was gonna look up like,
I'm
is this like something that hasn't been tackled in legislation? Like, are people really doing this for real? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this is one hell of a scheme, because you know I can see that. I can see like someone just pulling up.
That someone's doing this somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not on that scale, but I'm almost certain like people are getting checks for this person being in an assisted living facility.
Right.
And so because they're getting a check for this
They're
person
keeping them
being
there.
there, they're keeping them there, or, making a concerted effort to get more people there by any means. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we've seen some video footage of like some of these people being taken, like elderly people getting beat up and mistreated in some of these facilities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
I mean, we don't get any background story as to why that's happening or what kind of system
This is
would
it.
allow for that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I definitely believe that, like, for sure, this is happening. Maybe not on that scale, but it's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, corruption is happening every single day in this country, around the world, and this film really shows you that intersectionalism of corruption. I mean, this woman is shaking hands with the doctor. She's shaking hands with the lawyer. She's shaking hands with the courts. She's shaking hands. She has stock in. She has a big chunk of stock in the care facility. Like, like she offered the doctor, she was like, okay, let me get some more, goods on this patient. That could be my ward. Like, what do you want? And the doctor was like,
I want stock.
I want a piece of that stock, baby. Like, we keep doing this and you're not really getting me in. Like, I want in on this because you eating.
Yeah.
And so I find that really interesting too, because it really shows you how a lot of these growing businesses, especially in law, especially when it comes to, I mean, I was just watching,
especially law.
I was just watching the Britney Spears. I think it was the New York Times or one of the papers. They have they're doing media and doing stories, multimedia stories, and they were talking about Britney Spears. I think it's called a conservatorship, and basically how her father right now is like, owns like all of her assets, like owns all her stuff, and her fan base is been helping try to get her out of the conservatorship. Yeah. And so it reminded me of that, because I'm just like, there's so many loopholes and so many ways that the elite are able to manipulate society and bend, the 99% at their will, to just make more money and have more power. And you totally get this character who's about her wits and is extremely intelligent and has all these connections, has this huge network, and
seemingly starting it up from zero.
Yeah, literally pretty much starting from nothing. You understand why she wants to get to that point, because she's kind of, turn that curtain up, pull the curtain back a little bit, and she sees how this can get to another level.
Right, where she's like, no one has morals, why should I, kind of thing.
Exactly. She's like, everyone's doing it. Why can't I do it? Yeah.
I can't remember who brought this up to me, but I recommended the movie to someone else, and when they brought up, they started talking about baseball in that era where steroids got big, and it was kind of like, well, this person's doing steroids, this person's doing steroids, and now we're all losing because all these people are doing steroids.
Mhm.
So I might as well join in,
Right.
and
And
do it as
even it out
well,
again.
and even out, and get in where I could fit in. And I kind of feel like she's like, all right, well, if everyone is being evil but me, and I'm the one who's constantly getting taken advantage of.
Yeah, and I'm getting hurt
What
about
if?
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what do I have to gain from not being evil and sitting
Mhm.
in this position? I might as well, get my feet a little dirty.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and then you learn the lesson that's learned is that once you get your feet dirty, not only does it not stop, but you can't undo it.
Yeah.
Once you're
You can't go
in,
back.
you're
Can't reel it
in.
back.
It's like Ozark. It's like Breaking Bad. Like this type of story
Good
is
girls.
a very exactly like this is a very sad story because it never ends well, and you're always gonna be on that hamster wheel. And it's just like she was telling Frankie, she was just like, we're always gonna be looking behind our shoulder if we don't end this now. But the gag is, it's never gonna end, baby. It's never
Yeah.
gonna end.
Well, it ended.
It ends. It ends. What you think's what she thought was gonna end didn't end. It didn't end the way she thought it was gonna end. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it ends bad for you, love. Is what the point is. And so it's like, you have to be careful when you get into those situations, when you get involved with the mob, when you get involved with gangs, bad business, like shisty individuals, in the elite. It's like. That is it's a recipe for L's, like, and she takes them, and Dean told her, but she was it's an addiction, you know what I mean? Capitalism, it can bring about addiction to money and just like power, and she was addicted, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like, and she wanted it so bad that she was literally like, I mean, I couldn't believe the turn that the film was making. I was just like, damn, like, she won't stop. Like, they just tried to kill your girlfriend. They blow your house up, basically. Like,
Yeah.
Kill her too.
I thought the movie, yeah. Then they
try
try to kill her
in the water.
At first, I was like, oh, can she die right now? That would be kind of wild. Like, that would be
Kinda
interesting. Like, if they kill her right now, like, how would the movie progress after this? But of course, I was like, now why didn't y'all just kill her, then put her in the car, and then
Yeah.
ride the car off into the lake? Like, that would have made more sense, folks.
Because if they find the body in the autopsy, as Danny would say,
It's a
the cause
gunshot,
of death,
yeah.
is gun.
Wait, what?
If they find the body in the water and they do an autopsy, the cause of death would be a gunshot.
But the thing is, though, they faked the doctor's death because they were like, oh, the doctor was ruled a suicide. I was like, well, how the hell did they do that?
Oh yeah.
So they could have just done that with her. Like they could have just killed her right there when she was being held hostage in front of him.
Yeah.
And then just dumped her into whatever. But it was like, okay, it's a plot device. She's not going to die right now, unfortunately, Omari. So we got to keep this thing going. She gets Frankie. And then they literally fight back. I couldn't believe it. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, like, you are crazy, girl. Like,
Yeah, that was the best
Marla,
part.
like, please stop.
But
Like,
that's when she wins him over because he's
Yeah,
like,
he's like, "All right, let's go
I
into
realize that you're
Right.
you're the most
You're
driven,
me.
driven, crazy. Yeah.
person that he's ever met, and he realized that it's just not gonna. She's never gonna stop.
Never going to
We
stop.
could just make more. He said we make way more money.
Yeah,
working together and fighting
billionaires
against each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, that thing came right on back around.
Well, he still ends up on top because now
Well,
that
with
she's gone,
Yeah.
he inherits all of that money.
yeah.
Well,
And-
unless Frankie was in on it too, because she kind of.
Yeah, but
She was
splitting
chilling.
it three ways
Oh, yeah,
is still
Frankie's still
less
there.
money than
Well, if they
splitting
were
it two.
like, I don't know if they made it official or whatever, like
Right.
partners and stuff. But that's one thing I thought. I was like, all right, she was basically taking advantage of people who had no one to leave things to. She also didn't have
Right.
anyone to leave things to. Where did her portion of that go to? Either him or to Frankie if she was.
yeah.
Oh,
Peter
that just
Dinklage's
made me think
character.
about one of my favorite scenes in the entire thing. One of my favorite scenes. So this whole situation happened. He tries to kill her. He thinks he's won. He thinks she's dead. She comes back, and this whole scenario presents itself, and he ends up in the hospital, and he opens his eyes,
She's sitting there like,
and all he sees is hills. And she's sitting there, and she goes through the spill about her being his legal guardian now.
Yeah.
right,
And
right. And he
oh
flipped it.
my
Yeah, she
God.
flipped
You're
it on
John
him.
Doe. I was.
You're
yo,
John Doe,
that-
and I'm your legal guardian, and I'm here to help, and I care. Yeah, it's like,
I was
damn.
like, oh.
I own you now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like I own you, and
jeez.
you're
Like,
gonna
she-
give me that $10
she,
million.
like, she trumped him better than anyone could, like, we could have imagined. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, he's here now. Like,
Right.
she's like, hey, I can touch you at any time, kind of thing. No, she's actually like, I actually own you now. Like, thanks for this.
Yeah.
Whatever is yours is now mine. So figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
I can keep you locked up in a nursing home for forever. Like, his only option was to go into business with her or just.
and I think she took from him what he valued the most, because the money is not what he valued the most. It was the control.
Yeah.
He had
Control
no
from
more
him.
control over himself.
Right.
So yeah, man, that scene there.
All right, let's go into rating this movie now. What do you have, Amari?
I'll give it an A. Well, okay, numbers. I'll give it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? Okay.
yeah,
That's
I'll
higher
give it-
than you
That's your
rated
first.
Gentleman.
That's your first 10.
That's my first 10, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Damn.
that might be the. Well, you gave it 10.
I gave it 10 for Gentleman.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like,
Yeah, when movies like this catch you by surprise, like
Yeah.
that, it leaves you even better feeling or better taste in your mouth.
absolutely. And again, it made me want more. I want to know more about Marla. Like, why is she this crazy person? I want to see her build this company. I mean, we come into the situation and she's already thriving. She's got everything. She's got all her connections, and she's killing it. And I love that, origin story. That's how you tell a story for real. Like, that's how you establish the characters, you establish the motivations, you establish the world, and they did that very well. All the characters, the performers were great. Peter Dinklage was great. The elderly woman that played Jennifer was great. I just love that with seeing a lot of older actors, especially women. As women age in the business, a lot of times you don't really see them get roles to really chew on or have work with in terms of substance. I thought that was great. And just the story, the sophistication of it all, just seeing the interconnectedness throughout the film and the different characters and the different industries combining to help complete the scam. It's just like, damn, like, is this real again? Like, is this
Everybody's
really
eating off of
happening?
it.
Like, yeah, like everyone's getting a piece of the pie. Just wild seeing her walk up to Sam, who runs the care facility, and was just like, I need you to up her dosage. I need you to cut her food. I need you to, she only gets 30 minutes outside of, the crib. I was just like, damn. Like, I mean, and Sam was like, you got it. All right. You sure? Okay. So it was really, really cool just to see, someone really take their time with a film and really flesh everything out for you to enjoy.
Is it me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I think that is the same that I gave
Gentleman.
the Gentleman.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, the bar is Shawshank.
The bar is
So
Shawshank.
Shawshank is a 10.
It's a 10.
So yeah, so the bar is pretty high.
Yeah,
so I'm
that's
gonna
high.
give it 9.5 because it's super good. I definitely would recommend it to people to
Yeah, for
watch,
sure.
and I'd gladly rewatch it
That was
over and
gonna be
over
my
and
next
over
question.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I'll watch it
Rewatchability
again.
and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and would you recommend? Recommend, I would 10 out of 10 recommend.
yeah.
If we're talking Yelp, but I think I give it 9.5, probably 9.5 because it's, I don't know. It's just, I think we said it already, but it's as good, not as good as you can get, but basically almost as good as you can get in a film. I also like that other than Peter Dinklage and there wasn't it wasn't an ensemble cast.
Right.
In a way where like The Gentleman was, where you have all these people for sure, but are you seen multiple times or no? Like, all right, they're gonna kill it. Yeah, 9.5 for me.
Yeah, I liked Alex, the henchman for Peter Dinklage's character. Yeah, everyone in the film was really cool, and I understand the dark comedy, labeling. There are definitely tones, undertones of comedic relief in a way, especially with the Dean character. And then it's just like kind of funny just seeing this chick not giving up. Like she just won't stop. And you're just like, yo, like
the scene where
Marla,
she's saying I own
please,
you
girl.
now, and then the one where she's where they're like at a dig site or something, and it's him sitting in front of her like, hey, I'm about to kill you.
Right, and she's
in her
like,
response,
she's like, okay.
I'm not scared to death. Why are we scared to death? It's
Yeah.
over after that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
She was very, yeah. I admired that part of her, just that the bravery,
yeah.
like Peter
she was
Dinklage's
almost
character.
never. Go ahead, I keep interrupting.
Oh no, you're good, bro. What are you saying?
She's like never scared.
Right,
also,
right.
It's always like when she survived, when she probably should have drowned and stuff.
Yeah.
She wasn't scared. Like she was just pissed. She was even more mad. She's like, "Oh, there's no way. Like now I am. He's beating me on the score. I have to go back and get him." Obviously, she was like, "All right, Frankie got touched and got hurt in this. If she's okay with it, then I'm okay with it," which was cool. Like you got to see some empathy from her, like when you didn't like the entire movie, but after Frankie was like, "All right, you're right, let's go," then it was just game continues and I'm gonna win. Yeah, so I think everyone would rewatch. I already rewatched it. I probably would watch it again.
Most definitely.
Anything else? Any final words?
Final thoughts. Man, just play by the rules, man. Like seriously,
it was one of the two. Yeah, play by the rules or cheat every day.
Play by the rules. Like it's gonna come back to you, man. Like it really does. Like
movie was about karma. Also,
it's about karma. Absolutely, like karma and just really being honest and being fair and moral. It does pay off in the end. Like I know it's like it may seem impossible the way our society's set up. And so many, every day we see people win, off of the most, shadiest stuff. Like I was just seeing a tweet the other day about these damn PP loans or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like, bro, like people out here really, because it's hard out here for some folks. And it's just like, I'm sure, again, I'd love to know Marla's character's backstory, but she alluded to struggling, in her early years. And she was just like, I'm never going back there. And there's nothing that you can do to stop me from avoiding that. And so it's like, I get it, but at the same time, it's going to come back. And it came back specifically to her character, because we're following the character. But she was just so, like Peter Dinklage was saying, it's just like, I was just over here chilling, but you over here you just screwed my whole situation up. Who are you? Yeah. She was really she was ruining so many people's lives. At least Peter Dinklage was like, we have a system. My mother, we're doing this right here. Like, we're trying to just keep it cool. We're laying low. I mean, Marla was she's going through everybody, grandparents, like just the whole neighborhood. Like, it was like, damn, like it was really sad. Like, it really kind of made me sad because I was just like, yo, like when she was first bringing Jennifer out of her home, it was just like,
you feel really bad. Like that's why I said that lady killed her role.
24 hours didn't even pass, and she is repainting the wall. She is stripping out furniture. I'm like, bro, like you just uprooted this woman. You don't even know who she is for real. Like, right. And then you get the nod that she is not who you think she is, or that there's consequences to what you're doing, and you still don't stop. Like you're that
double
addicted.
Down. All the chips.
Yeah, like you're handed hundreds of thousands of dollars are dangling in front of you, and you would rather go through what's being alluded to you to be, danger and life threatening. And you'd rather chase, the millions than just take.
She wanted those diamonds, those
the diamond. Yeah, once you saw the diamonds,
those uncut gems.
Once you saw the uncut gems, it was a wrap. Like she was just like, "Oh nah, Frankie, we just hit the jackpot, baby. Like, what are you doing?" Like, and even going later in the film, Frankie was like, "We lost," and she was like, "No, we still got those diamonds, girl." And it's just like, look what she built over what she stole. And then in the end, it comes to a screeching halt. Mm-hmm. And so, it's just like play by the rules.
We definitely ruined the movie, but definitely still check it out. If you haven't, it'll still be worth it.
If we were doing a spoiler,
we can't even do it justice. Watching it, you'll be able to understand what we're saying and stuff will ring bells, but still a really good movie and watchable even with spoilers.
Absolutely.
All right, that's about it. It's been episode 4 of What We Watching.